We have the brand new Citroen EC3 here for you, and we're eager to dive into what this small car, starting at approximately €23,300, truly has in store. It starts purely battery electric. We've got the basic equipment too. There are also two more premium, more expensive variants of the EC3. And we want to take a look with you inside and out what it can do. We're here in the area surrounding Greifswald, given that we are visiting Citroen Bauschke today, and let's find out what. Can it handle well? Is it safe? Can it brake well? Can it accelerate quickly? How is its driving and travel comfort? Maybe it's even an interesting electric car for short to medium distances. Before we begin, check if you're part of the Einfach Elektrisch community. If not, we'd appreciate your support by subscribing. That would be extremely helpful. It's also free for you because it would significantly enhance our work as well. And now I would say, let's not waste any time and get started with the brand new Citroen EC. And as always, we start from the outside, start from the front. Take a look at the front section. What features has Citroen equipped the EC3 with? Which is available both with a combustion engine and, as we see here, as a fully electric version. Firstly, we have a beautifully styled closed-off front section here. It's also nice and beefy, really strong. It actually seems bigger than it might appear later in the technical data in terms of dimensions. We have modern daytime running lights in LED technology. There are also LED headlights and air curtains, which should slightly improve aerodynamics to effectively direct air around the wheel arches. We've also opted for a basic and distinctive light blue color. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, almost like sky blue, right?
Looks really kind of sleek, suits him, is modern, is quite snazzy, and even when viewed from the side, it's kind of like squarely practical and good.
Yeah, I do quite like it.
You've got a really appealing shape going on here. This vehicle stretches just over 4 meters in length. It features 4 doors, along with 4 seating spots inside, of course, and boasts some really wonderful steel rims, so to speak. I find it great seeing these alloy wheels, yeah.
It's distinct.
And that's also in combination with a stylish hubcap and what Citroen even grants the EC3 at the back, there's a disc brake.
Powerful.
Because there are some experts from the VW group all the way to the Cupra Tavascan where you still find a drum brake. You see, with Citroen, going for the entry-level price doesn't actually mean you're getting something that's simple or lacking in features. I also find the rear end to be nicely designed, and with the LED taillights, it all looks pretty chic. Plastic at the bottom of the bumper is quite convenient if you accidentally bump into something, as you won't need to repaint everything. I find that completely fine in this price range. What I also really like is a nice rear spoiler, which you could even misuse during a short loading break if necessary. And what I find the coolest, Stefan, take a look please.
We've got it once again. There are absolutely no hiccups whatsoever. I'm really thrilled.
So after the Leapmotor T03, which is in a similar price range, maybe even a bit cheaper, feel free to check out the video related to that topic. Or consider the Dacia Spring Electric as well, which didn't just have a standard shark fin antenna, but rather a half shark fin design combined with an unusually large flap. Well, I have to say Citroen does that really well. Why they might be able to do it, we'll find out in the interior, because actually, especially here at the base, we have the model here that's available starting from €23,300. There are also ones with a higher equipment level, so Ju Plus package, I think, yeah, and then the Max package. The others, I think, some antenna or shark fin lock. Why he doesn't have that, you can feel free to go ahead and write in the comments right now. Maybe you have some creative ideas about that. It would have been truly brilliant indeed if they had successfully integrated this rear wiper located here with a rear spoiler design. Then it wouldn't have stood out as much visually. But in the end, it's all about trying to offer you an affordable car. So of course, the manufacturer is trying to somehow every third decimal place to save money. And that's probably also where the space for the rear windshield wiper is crucial. Let's discuss the dimensions for a moment. It is 4 meters and 1.5 centimeters in length, which means it's approximately 4.015, so to speak, Stefan.
Strong.
with 1.81 meters plus side mirrors, so it should still fit in the left lane of the construction site at 2.10 meters, and he's 1.57 meters tall for comparison. I'm 1.85 meters tall, by the way. The wheelbase measures out to be 2.54 meters. That's pretty decent because we have relatively short overhangs here as well, considering that he might also be moving away from combustion engines, and it starts at a curb weight of about 1.4 tons, and depending on the equipment, it can go up to 1.5 tons at the lower end. By the way, you can get the roof and body color like here, or also in black or white. It's somewhat dependent on the features, so you can make it a little bit more lively. You also get alloy wheels. What you always get, in any case, is a battery pack, 400 volts, with 44 kilowatt hours of usable energy, which can be charged back here on the driver's side of the rear. Standard single phase with 7.4 kilowatts at 32 amperes, or for an extra 400 euros, you can get the 3-phase 11 kilowatt charger. I really like that because it allows you to fully charge the battery from empty in 4 hours. CCS always comes standard with up to 100 kilowatts in peak performance. I think this is quite a respectable figure considering the size of the battery and the overall price-performance ratio of the vehicle. And it should most likely, I assume, be able to fully recharge from 10 to 80% in roughly around a half-hour period. Regrettably, we're simply not going to have the opportunity to actually try that out in this video today. Indeed, it is consistently powered via the front axle utilizing a front-wheel drive system. We can take a look at that right away. We'll do that in one take here now, Stefan. And it delivers a power output of 48 kilowatt, which is equivalent to 113 horsepower in the electric motor that is situated under this hood. Torque of 120 Newton meters. Yes.
Good, right?
I think for the use cases of such a 4-meter car, it's probably more possibly maybe as a second car in an urban environment. For some, perhaps even as a main travel car. I'm not sure. You need to define that accordingly, but I do find it appropriate. And if you put that in relation to the weight, add us both Prayer Brothers in there, plus our camera equipment, then we're at a good 1.65 tons he should actually have thrust then.
Yes, what I noticed right away, given that we just recently discussed the Dacia Spring, is that I can definitely see an underbody present here. This area here is certainly damped downwards.
Yes, at least a little. That looks pretty chic. What's unfortunately not possible here due to the technology is that the electric motor is here, and above it sits all the charging stuff. It's just a frunk, because that's what I would have wanted, you know, like an insert here. Maybe with a small compartment here in between where you can just toss in a charging cable.
Exactly, up here you have. The option to insert a bowl might work.
Exactly. If it had a frunk, hood vents might have been quite nice too. So I think you go about topping up the windshield washer fluid here, not so much brake fluid, and so using the stick like in my 93 Golf is probably okay. What we're interested in listening to is the sound a Citroen hood makes. Stefan will once again give us a brief countdown.
3, 2, 1, let's get going.
Zach, it's really freezing here in Greifswald again, isn't it?
We've got warm coats.
Did you pack the Draggy so we can check the 0 to 111.5 seconds with GPS?
Absolutely sure.
Top speed is 135 km/h.
That's okay, right? It's enough, isn't it? Yeah. And what we haven't talked about yet, look here, the new Citroen logo, a bit done differently. That looks really chic too.
That looks so chrome-plated, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly so.
Okay, let's all gather together to take a detailed look at the trunk, particularly concentrating on the rear luggage compartment. In this price range, it usually opens manually, so that's probably the case here too, right? Yes. And then Citroen generously provides us with a spacious trunk capacity of approximately 310 liters here.
I'd say it's decent for this class.
I think that's perfectly fine as well. Here's the Type 2 charging cable, so now you see how neatly square the small frunk is. For the cable in front, it would be cool. And then you've got this little compartment underneath, but we can't fit the cable in there either. Well...
Can you fit a first aid kit or something in there?
Yes, we also have it here, but perhaps it's lacking a little strap to securely fasten it or something like that. I'm not sure if that exists. Sure, otherwise... it naturally tends to limit the available trunk space a bit more than one might have expected initially. What I like, even in this price range, look, everything here is covered with this kind of felt here. Neat and tidy back here. The rear seat backrest is actually impressively well done. And we have this massive bumper again, likely for enhanced crash safety. This is because when I have to lift the water crate, I don't have a soda stream. Someone once asked why I don't have one in my kitchen. I have the water crate now and must lift it deep inside, which is tough on my back. And when I want to take it out at home, I have to lift it over again, which is really quite a hassle. So that's where a convenient soda stream would be handy. Maybe also much more practical. If 310 liters of trunk volume, for whatever reason, aren't enough for you in everyday life with such a small car, then you naturally have the option to fold down the rear seat. Now I have to secure these loops again using my ice-cold fingers, and you can even fold them right over. Folding them down ups the volume from 310 liters Steffen to 1200. That's pretty neat, right?
That's a decent sum, yeah.
And if we now imagine this deep cargo floor, if there's a double cargo floor in here, maybe it's even available as an option in the aftermarket or from Citroen. That would be handy because you don't always need the full 310 liters, right? No.
Not exactly, no.
And that might be practical in everyday life. If you fold down the seats, you then also have a flat surface. Feel free to write in the comments if you could see yourself with a double loading floor. Would also like the parcel shelf look nicely covered with fabric. And look here, enjoy dreaming. Unlike Dacia, there's nothing sharp-edged, it's nice hard plastic. And then you can, with ice-cold paws at 3 degrees in the tear world, nicely put this thing over, right?
Cool, and now it's all back to how it was.
And what Citroen also offers compared to the Dacia Spring Electric is at least a small covering here made of plastic.
Yeah, it's not just metal.
And there's also a handle attached.
To carry out by hand manually.
Dacia doesn't have this feature either. To touch the car body here, you basically need something akin to a lion's mighty paw. That doesn't look so nice either. And there he falls completely, soft and beautifully in. If he says, well, 310 liters isn't sufficient, and 1,200 liters definitely won't do at all, you also have the option to utilize a roof rack with a support load capacity of 75 kilograms. He really turns into quite the little moving monster then. And if he still says, oh no, I have garden waste and maybe even a small bike rack where I want to take my bike with me because I'll continue somewhere by bicycle, or just people who maybe live outside the city, then drive to a park and ride lot and want to continue by bike. A bike rack is quite handy for that too.
Certainly.
And even there, this little miracle box, which I prefer to call it, offers a tow bar with a capacity of 550 kilograms for both braked and unbraked trailer loads, along with a tongue weight capacity of 61 kilograms.
As I always say, better than nothing.
Sure, for 2 pedelecs it probably won't be enough because the bike rack also has some weight. But theoretically, you could also put a box on it to transport something. Well, I think the car is really, for the proportions, for the price performance starting at 23,300 euros, really so far, I believe, an interesting overall package. Let's see if that continues into the interior. We'll take a look at that together now. Outside, we've shown you everything. Let's take a look inside. And of course, we first check if it has double glazing. That was just a joke. Of course, he didn't. But it still would have been pretty cool if you guys had installed 2 discs into the Holger.
That'd surprise us all.
But we always have to compare the cars with each other. And who knows, sometimes someone treats themselves to something. For instance, the Dutch Air Spring Elected. We will definitely circle back to this later in the rear section. Yes, then what we have here is a rather beautiful hard plastic door panel. However, I must say, and I really have to commend Citroen for this, has a premium appearance owing to its textured plastic finish. It wasn't padded at all, so for those who are enthusiasts of the refined elbow sport, they'll hit it hard here. They will bump hard down here, but for plastic, it certainly appears to be quite valuable and premium. Yes.
Above all, it looks cohesive.
Then we have 2 electric window controls here. I'm curious to see how we open the rear windows. If you know, feel free to write it in the comments. And we do indeed have an electric mirror adjustment here, and Citroen even put a wiring harness in here rather than solving that issue somewhere in the center console. Like it was with the Dacia, for example. A nice large PET bottle fits in here, or even a smaller one. Of course, there's nothing particularly developed here or anything like that, but just this light blue, it makes the whole atmosphere a bit more welcoming. And Citroen probably thought, oh, come on, before we even do ambient lighting, which costs money too, let's just go with something shiny here. Shiny, reflected in daylight. Respecting glossy surface. Looks nice too. Yeah. Welcome to the interior space of the Citroen EC3, and I must say I find it to be strikingly stylish and very chic. I don't say this often, but it's truly just like that, because up here you have really huge storage areas, I believe. So you have your compartment here where you can conveniently stash various items. Then you have your bicycle display positioned in this spot, which I truly believe is wonderfully placed. Replaces a head-up display because you just have to tilt your eyes slightly downwards and not all the way down. You still have it clearly in your sight. I find the location of this driver info display to be absolutely brilliant. Hats off to that. Then you essentially have your multifunction steering wheel here, which you can conveniently adjust both in height and distance as needed. It's nicely made with a flat top and compact size. It feels like a go-kart steering wheel. Really cool horn, works. Also sounds French. Vive la Française. So really, even though it's all hard plastic, but it's nicely grained, it's accented here again with the blue. Somehow it's all done peppy and cool. Yes, in the base model with U equipment, you don't get an infotainment display. I think that's only in the Plus package, Stefan. Correct.
Sure.
Your infotainment primarily consists of just having your smartphone, and honestly, when you really think about it, that's more than enough. At least for using a small car, handling daily tasks, commuting to work, and taking the kids to school, not the school to the kids, it suffices. Did a bit of shopping, so for the city, you've got your Google Maps on it, you've got your sound system on it, whatever, Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon Prime Music. Then Citroen has installed nice speakers here. We'll test later if they also deliver great sound from the smartphone. And that simply connects here with the system over a USB-C port there with the phone. Down here, nicely highlighted in a different color. It looks really valuable. Here's another shelf where you can conveniently place something. Then we have manual air vents here, which are definitely our favorite kind.
Indeed.
We have the hazard lights situated here, and then also some kind of convenient Bluetooth function. Maybe you can even pair it with Bluetooth somehow. That might be the case because our test subject, I believe, isn't fully activated yet since it was just recently delivered. Here we have a manual air conditioning unit. I personally find it pretty cool how you can easily adjust where it blows. There are 4 different levels: recirculation, AC, along with heating for winter and cooling for summer. Everything is perfectly fine. We've got a storage surface here. I think this is not an inductive charging area. Maybe it will come later with a higher transformation. By the way, right now, Timo Schad sends greetings to the T&E magazine. My test report downloaded from the latest electric car. By the way, there's a new car test every Friday in the T&E magazine. If you're up for it, you can sign up for the newsletter for free. If you're interested, there's the T&E magazine out quarterly. Comes out then also for you at the cost price of shipping to be sent quarterly. So there are also always about 4 car tests from us in it. Of course, many other great topics around electromobility, renewable energy, and so on and so forth. So you should definitely check that out. Advertising block Timo End. Yes, 2 cup holders we also have. Then here we have a beautiful black piano lacquer that naturally, with greasy fingerprints, some light micro scratches, then has undergone its personalization. Yes, let's use a fitting word for that. It's about giving the item a distinct character and unique individuality. We have the option of using a Stellantis gear selector, particularly suited for parking. And then we basically have another C function here. I don't really know what that is. Usually B indicates brake for enhanced regeneration. We will be testing that later on in the drive report. Yes, what we have here is the electronic parking brake for red numbers, the small note, and then there's a flat sloping area with a 12-volt connector. Perhaps Citroen could have been generous and provided us with a second USB-C port, don't you think? That might be the only criticism I have here, but you can also get an adapter for 12 volts. I'm more of a fan of having a middle armrest, as I'm quite a spoiled only child.
All right then.
But maybe you can get that in a higher trim level, you know?
It's possible to also find USB-C in the Max version, for example. Ah, okay.
Even USB-C has already become significantly more expensive. Well, otherwise, we have a nice tidy headliner here. We've got lovely sun visors, but only on the passenger side. Then the makeup mirror, and as a male driver, I feel a bit discriminated against now like this, but I'd also like to check how I look. No, just kidding. It's all good if necessary. I'll just go over there and look in, or I'll use the rear view mirror. That's always an option. So, well, I think these sun visors, when do you use them? I sometimes use them when my contact lens shifts somehow. But how often does a contact lens slip?
Hey, take a look. We've got some fantastic and really amazing music available here as well.
Yes, I have the phone. It works via Bluetooth.
Good.
That is truly a cool story. Look here, I have sound. It's only coming from the front speakers, but it still has a nice, rich bass. But it's so simple to listen to the radio through the phone, or even just music. It's really awesome, don't you think?
Yes, indeed.
But let's take a look together. Besides the music, perhaps through the passenger door, what does Citroen offer from the side? Here you can see the airy structure again, which looks pretty cool. Otherwise, we always have an additional compartment here, maybe for a handbag or a small man bag. We didn't include that feature as the C3 is also entering the market as a combustion engine. I figure it's about 7,000 or 8,000 euros cheaper than electric. We still end up paying extra. I kind of feel the same way around the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. Well, write in the comments how you see it. I would truly wish for the manufacturers to meet us halfway there, at least just a little bit more. Yes, here we have a nice fabric seat, but again, made with love, here with the blue tone. Then just a decent seat cushion here. Can't be adjusted, doesn't need to be, but reasonable support in the thigh area. Also decent here in the lumbar area. Here a little shoulder, integrated headrest. I think having a bit of a color accent is actually cool, right?
Yeah, I've also become more of a fan of fabric seats lately.
I tell you, fabric is all the rage now, even in home interiors. I checked out our old leather couches. They're totally old school. Except for a Chesterfield, everyone's going for fabrics. BMW used cashmere in the i7. Fabric tends to be recyclable and looks quite stylish. So all in all, it's really good and completely animal-free. It's fun too. Yeah, so we basically have a nice glove compartment here. Unfortunately, it's not lined with felt or anything. Here's a little glimpse of the Citroen legend spanning from back then to today. Look over there, that's the dark, pretty awesome. And next year, for instance, Renault is expected to release the 4, which should be quite interesting. I'm really curious to see what kind of cool stuff Citroen will be coming up with next. It'll be known as the Aircross here, isn't that right?
Yes, as the Aircross. It's expected to arrive in the spring of 2025.
So everything is a bit more SUV-like, a bit... So from that perspective, I think 25 will be really exciting again. Kindly verify whether you have a subscription with us. It is entirely free for your use. It would be a great help to us and you will not miss out on seeing the latest electric cars. Yes, down there, oh, everything's nicely lined with carpet. There's probably an optional floor mat as well. Well, today we just weren't fortunate here. Yeah, otherwise door entry, hard plastic. Here we can definitely do the shake test. Given this price, I truly don't expect it to include absolutely everything. So from that standpoint, I have to say everything is solid, everything is good, excellently built, just as we are accustomed to seeing from Citroen. And yes, the Citroen really does deliver.
You found it again.
Do you think I've turned up the heating too much in here? Look, it's fogging up a little bit. Yes, with us, you always get to see everything unfiltered. Here, I definitely have a really nice armrest. It's pretty cool when you start chatting away again or something. Yeah, or just talking over the fence with your neighbor. It's quite nice. No, kidding aside, let's move on to the back seat test. I stand 1.85 meters tall with a deer-like weight of 99.9 kilos. And now we want to take a closer look to see if Ollie can actually fit comfortably in the back of the e-C3. C3.
Fits.
Yeah, really quite decent. I can fit my feet really nicely under the seat here. That's most likely because it originates from a combustion engine platform where the battery is securely flanged directly underneath the car's structure. It's good from that angle. Left out what I disliked. In the base model here, I couldn't find any height adjustment for the seats, neither for the driver nor the passenger. So it could possibly be there. Give it a test at your local Citroen dealer with the car to see if it suits your height perfectly. For me, standing at 1.85 meters, it typically fits because of my height anyway. Otherwise, just put a pillow under, right, Stefan? How do you do it? A seat cushion. Yeah, exactly. You always have it in my 911 because you think it's too hard. Right, the seating ring, huh? Well, yes, exactly. Sadly, there's no middle armrest here. Well, in that price range, you probably couldn't expect that either. As mentioned, USB-C ports at the back are probably available in higher trim levels. Here we have the ISOFIX mounts. I find it somewhat suboptimal when they are hidden behind a zipper because the plug needs to be inserted in both the vertical and horizontal directions. It's always tricky, especially when, like me, you sit all the way at the back. Well, not the bottom, since there's no height adjustment. It can get tight. Here's the distance. They usually have an extra footrest, those ISOFIX seats. If that's a fit, kindly leave a comment if you have any experience with it. Otherwise, you might need to move the driver's seat a bit further forward. Then it will be quite tight for me. As a monk, naturally, otherwise. There's good headroom back here, so you can fit a fist in between. Everything is nicely done. However, there's hard plastic on the sides again. It might rattle a bit, but oh my God. And what's the coolest of all, what I absolutely love. Do you recall when I mentioned in the Dacia Spring Electric, why have power windows in the back? A crank would have sufficed and they could have installed something else instead. Citroen does that. Still got the good old crank handle at the back. Just look at that. Is it not awesome? Isn't it incredibly cool? Sure thing. If you have more questions or need further help, just let me know.
Definitely, yes, indeed.
Outside, we've shown you everything. Inside, we've shown you everything. Now, I'm really excited to take the EC3 with you to experience on the road. Come on, get in as we move on to the driving report now. We have set off with the Citroen. Do you know what I happened to notice just now? I actually didn't catch that previously. There's no faux leather or anything like that around it. Nah.
Definitely not.
That's kind of Roberto Blanco here. It's a bit of a shame, really. At least on the wheel. I mean, it doesn't feel bad. It's also nice and grippy and comfortable, but a bit material-wise, it would have been nice.
Exactly.
For an urban city zipping czar, the turning circle is always important. With 10.30 meters, sure, considering the vehicle length is 4 meters, where should it come from? But I can really nicely drive around Stefan here. That's quite a fantastic story, and I'm sure it will certainly assist you in maneuvering and turning around efficiently in the city. Far more important than merely the turning circle, of course, is naturally how well I can manage to park a vehicle like this EC3 effectively. We'll give it a try because we don't have any tools available at the base here. That means we can really do this nicely, Stefan. With a quick over-the-shoulder look, just like that, all around. So now let's come a little bit closer. Am I already too far away, perhaps? Bam, and then just right here, perfectly positioned next to the... Just park the vehicle in this spot, right?
Yes, you truly did that very well.
So I think everything is pretty much okay, right?
Sure thing.
You can manually check with side mirrors, rear view mirror, or a quick shoulder glance. In my opinion, you don't really need all of these backup cameras, 360-degree systems, and furthermore, there's also this bird's eye view thing going on. Honestly, we're not even discussing alloy wheels here. At most, we might possibly dent a hubcap. So, do we actually need all that nowadays?
Yeah, but it does have ultrasonic sensors. It definitely beeped just now.
Think it was ultrasound sensors?
That was something different entirely.
Just a hum, eh?
You're reversing.
Could those be ultrasound sensors?
I don't know, just drive straight towards that wall.
Zip!
Nope, no beeping.
We want to measure the interior noise with you at 50 kilometers per hour. ...60 bis 61 Dezibel, super Wert, vergleichbar mit dem VW ID3, den wir da auch gemessen haben. Currently, we're traveling at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. 61 to 62 decibels is certainly quite impressive, don't you think? Yes?
Really very good.
We should speed up to 62 miles. Now we're cruising at 62. ...68, 70 decibels, so it's actually well insulated. So you're not really compromising. Compared to a VW ID3, even between 70 and 100, it's a little bit quieter here in the test.
He's doing a really great job. Very nice.
I promised you we're doing the launch of the Draggy Star. Sure, we have GPS reception. Stefan counts down. 3,
2, 1, let's go!
Absolutely. Following the brief pause for thought, he kicks into action. From 30, swiftly to 50, and then on to 70. He accelerates through 80 and 90, and there we finally reach the impressive speed of 100. And then we'll also do the brake test with you, of course. Oh, it grips really nicely and firmly.
Okay.
Now that's definitely a really awesome brake.
Definitely. And we also have values. 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, 0 to 100 in 11.79, and from 100 to 0, 2.76.
The braking distance seemed quite impressive and short. Of course, we're not dealing with as much weight as usual, around 1.4 tons. Plus the two of us prayer brothers and a bit of equipment, let's say 1.65 tons. You can securely hold onto it as a brake, and it fulfills the factory specs. So there he is, assertive and direct. So I have to say, hats off. We'll stay on this topic right here, Stefan, because we can nicely drive along a nice winding country road, eco-friendly, practically good here at 60 kilometers per hour. And the suspension system also truly makes a very nice and positive impression on me. As we are used to from Citroen, it's always extremely comfortable, but hopefully it will also provide a certain degree of firmness. Here we can actually accelerate a little, now accelerating up to 100. Here comes the next curve. We want to take it nicely at 900 kilometers per hour. And he does this really elegantly. You get properly secured in the seat. It's not like in the Dacia Spring Electric where the door holds you on the left and the passenger on the right. I certainly feel there's noticeably more space available here compared to a Dacia Spring Electric. Honestly speaking, there's notably more room here than in the Leapmotor T03.
Certainly, yes indeed.
Feel free to check out both videos for a thorough comparison. At the moment, there's really no one behind us now. We can certainly give doing a bit of zigzagging a try here. Naturally, it might sway and tilt just a little bit. Citroen is quite well known for having particularly comfortable suspension systems that aren't really tuned to be excessively firm or overly stiff. I think he does it well because you're not racing with the car or anything. You're just moving quickly in everyday life like we always do, nice and performant. And there he is, I think, a great companion. What do you think, Stefan?
I like that too, so it doesn't sway much, especially during steering movements. He definitely keeps you well in the seat. Yes, he does well.
Oh, this is truly quite delightful. Take notice. I've even discovered an advanced cruise control function here, and it seems to be a part of the M package, where you can comfortably adjust the speed using the paddles. Where he keeps a nice pace here at 100 kilometers per hour and also handles these bumps. Everything so elegantly, even with the wheelbase of 2.54 meters, he feels like he has a 2.8 meter wheelbase. But it also has a certain firmness to it. The steering is nicely direct. I have the feeling that it's like it doesn't even have power steering. Maybe it doesn't even have power steering, who knows?
Well, I am wholeheartedly convinced of that.
So, you think so? Yeah? Nah, I'm saying he's got narrow tires, tiny wheels, and relatively low weight. Indeed, many vehicles in the past typically did not have any power steering at all.
Sometimes he also had really thick arms. Look.
Now I can nicely reduce to 70 here again. He does that, of course, through recuperation. Now let's go ahead and reduce a bit more here. But yeah, I honestly think it does a really solid job there. There's another lovely right turn here at 70. It handles it quite elegantly. So if you're all set and prepared, Stefan, we can certainly proceed to have a detailed discussion about the overall driving comfort of the vehicle. Yes, we have had a neutral medium for you for over 4.5 years. I've also seen with other colleagues that they've also partly adopted this medium by now, even though they don't actually have the inventor sitting in their car. And that's precisely Stefan's comfort gauge, often referred to as Stefan's seat of the pants meter, indicates whether the ride quality is good, bad, or just average. How's it going today, Stefan?
Well, I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised to be here. You know, I'm sitting very comfortably right now. I find the seats comfortable, I have nice side support. Thigh support is also great. For taller people, it would be nice if the seat could extend slightly forward to provide more support and enhanced comfort. But also in terms of the suspension system, I truly find it exceptionally pleasant and comfortable. This is also due to the wheelbase, which is 4 meters in length that we have here. It handles potholes really well, doesn't have much wall climbing ability, so it can manage a lot.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Here we have a basic steel suspension system with dampers, yet it's very solidly tuned. You can clearly see that Citroen is an experienced car maker, having done this for years. And of course, adjust it to the respective design, weight and arithmetic of the vehicle, just adapt, and you don't, in my opinion, notice the price with it. So it's actually what you're used to from Citroen, just like what we had in the C4. Maybe the C4 then with a longer wheelbase and a bit better tuned and damped. That's true. But I have to say, you can't tell that you're sitting at an entry-level price here. Nope.
Not at all. It's truly a solid vehicle.
Slowly but surely. Let's also move towards the conclusion. Here we have the Citroen EC3 in its base model in the U trim starting from 23,300 euros. I must say, I'm genuinely pleasantly surprised.
Yes, I agree.
And the fundamental features that I'm looking for in any decent car include a comfortable and proper seating position, an engaging drive, and then, of course, also a sensible The basic equipment is truly all here. Honestly, I really don't find myself missing much at all. Sure, a rear-view camera is always nice. A distance control, cruise control would have been the icing on the cake. The love motor has been quite generous to us in the T03. A display with some settings, radio and so on maybe makes everything a bit simpler and more relaxed, as when you're connecting speakers to your smartphone via Bluetooth or by using a cable. But in the end, you get, a European seasoned electric car manufacturer with Citroen. You receive a strong and reliable dealer network where whenever you encounter a shortage, you can always find a trustworthy contact person. And with Citroen, you're also aware that it typically maintains a decent resale value and it is recognized for providing adequate crash safety features. These aspects are quite important and should definitely not be ignored when you are considering buying a new vehicle. Should. So I actually find it exciting. If you want to spend more money, you can opt for the Plus or even the Max equipment and enjoy significantly more frills and comfort up to the infotainment display. Sometimes you get lucky that Citroen might also offer a small discount there. I don't know how it is with free entry-level vehicles then. But that's actually all solid, and he just goes along with the Leapmotor T03, the Dacia Spring Electric, and the Hyundai Imster that we showed you. Check it out. I find it super exciting. It also starts at under 25,000 euros, I believe, at 23,999 euros. I believe there's quite a really cool variety available by now.
There's certainly something appealing in the selection, that's for sure.
And then just make a comparison. Test drive the EC3, test drive the other vehicles that interest you from the other videos, and then you'll have your head-gut feeling and a good direction. What might be your entry-level starting point into electromobility? The sole thing we're missing at this point, as we're back at Zitronenbauschke, is the consumption. But since we don't have a consumption display, we can basically only refer to the WLTP range of up to 300 kilometers. Experience always tells us that, I think, in summer and winter, you should at least achieve 200 kilometers with a bit of tolerance since it has a 44 kilowatt-hour battery. And I think whoever drives efficiently and eco-friendly in city traffic during summer might manage, if they squeeze out the last ions, anodes squeezing everything out of the battery, probably even up to 400 kilometers, because I think you can drive it on 11 kilowatt-hours in city summer.
I believe so.
And with that, let's bring today's video to a close. I truly hope you found it enjoyable. You give it a thumbs up. Kindly take a moment to check whether you're an active part of the Simply Electric community. If not, we'd be thrilled if you supported us by subscribing. It's free, but it helps us a lot to always bring you the latest electric cars. To show, and then we quietly say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and goodbye yours, Ollie. Stefan, we also know where you wouldn't have a little bump, right?
Yep, exact.
If he doesn't have a radio or a navigation system, he really doesn't need GPS and an antenna. You need the Plus package again, then you'll also have the AB radio, and then it will probably have a nub as well. Feel free to write it in the comments if you know that.